I'm back, and it is the 12th week of the fall 2025 Mirliton season here in West Mobile, and things are progressing along actually a little bit better than I expected them to be. It's the end of November, past week of Thanksgiving, so typically a lot of the growers we've seen on Mirliton.org have actually had some pretty decent harvest and enjoyed Mirliton on their Thanksgiving table. I usually do it at Christmas time, so I didn't have it on mine, although I was gifted with some, as I mentioned last week. And so I've got those set aside to prepare for my Mirliton casserole at Christmas, although I will be making Mirliton soup as well. But anyway, I digress, because this week I'm finally starting to see some improvement. So without further ado, let's go check out the vine. Well, folks, it's the 12th week of the fall 2025 Mirliton season. West Mobile, it's like 40 something degrees out here this morning, so it's cold, but you can actually hear garbage trucks in the background. But I wanted to give you a quick view. The vine is still going strong. I'll take my gloves off here. Didn't cover it the last 2 days. It got down to 37, but you hear it's kind of papery sounding. Anyway, it's after Thanksgiving, and if you notice, still got some buds going somewhere, some flowers, and you might see a bunch of debris looking items around, but in my attempts to stave off the squirrels, I have gone about putting in measures of those sour oranges and coffee grounds in the bags, and so far it's helped out, so it seems. Notice none of my growth that was new growth up top seems to be gnawed recently. Most of it looks old. But what's really exciting, as the sun is shining and glistening on it, is what we got here. Finally, I'm starting to see some pollinated Mirlitons. As you can tell, I also have put out some high-tech solar disc, old CD, DVDs, to hopefully dissuade the squirrels from being too curious. But anyway, this is what I've been finally waiting for. These are the Boudreaux Robert varieties. So, keeping my fingers crossed, if I can manage another 2 weeks or so, maybe another week. They're growing pretty fast. I might be able to at least have my 2 or 3 to preserve and maybe share. Man, those garbage guys are loud this morning. Anyway, not really a whole lot else, except you got up top. You kind of see it's still pretty full up there. Still seeing a lot of flowers even. Yeah, flowers. So, anyway, it's the older vine seems to be the one that has got the Mirlitons on it. As you can see, it's probably also receiving a lot more sun. So, anyway, pretty excited about that. I'm not going to stay out and belabor the point too much. Everything else is basically what you've seen the last 12 weeks. So, anyway, just keep on keeping my fingers crossed and protecting these 3. And hopefully the weather will hold out another couple of weeks if I can get through the month of December, which I should be able to. Might be able to get at least these 3 and maybe a couple more. We'll see. But anyway, the most hopeful I've been in several weeks. So we'll just end on that note for now. Oh, I did water. I should have mentioned, but I did actually water twice. I watered once, and then we had a really good rain. So I want to attribute a lot of this improvement here to the fact that maybe, like my friend Clint was saying, is that I just needed to have a little bit more watering going to the vine. So I need to really review these at the end of the year and kind of assess what I did and didn't do, and what kind of improvements I saw. And like I said, the other improvement, sprinklers working to keep the squirrels away, as well as I want to say it doesn't look like anything's messed with these bags of coffee and such. So it could also be that I've just been out here more this past week since I've been on vacation, and maybe that's also helped. But anyway, that's what I got. And keep my fingers crossed. So as you can see, the vine is still doing pretty well. I actually got down to 37 a couple of mornings and didn't worry about covering it. Like I said, I've got a big canopy over it. Big secret or the big improvements that I think I made that may have helped out with these 3, possibly potentially 4 pollinated Melitons is the fact that I did do more watering. As I mentioned before, I probably was somewhat stingy. It's also pretty easy to forget when you have a pretty day outside, and you forget that if you haven't watered and you haven't had any rain in a while, that your plants still need watering. At least it is for me. Maybe it's just myself, but kind of difficult to always monitor the Mirliton vine because of the fact that when I leave for work in the morning, I just have a few minutes of sunlight, and then by the time I get home it's dark. But anyway, when I started to realize that perhaps maybe, as my friend Clint was saying, I did not have enough water going to the plant. And it makes sense because, if I started checking out the pollen on the flowers, it didn't look like it was as viable as it should be. And so I watered, but then in addition, as I've been mentioning, I've been putting those trifoliate oranges that are a little more sour just to give the squirrels something else to play with. In addition to that, though, I remember that I've read, I don't know if it's documented or what, but putting coffee or coffee grounds around your plants, obviously it's for the high acidity, helps with the pH balance or lowering the pH in your dirt. But in this particular case, what I was just trying to do is create more distractions and or unpleasantness for the squirrels. So I've been putting my coffee grounds in the paper up there. It looks a little bit unsightly, I admit, but at the same time, it so far has seemed to be fairly effective. So between the sprinkler and the coffee grounds and the sour oranges, it seems to be doing a pretty good job of keeping the squirrels at bay. In addition, the additional water seems to have helped keep the flowers and the fruit hydrated to the point that they need to be. So this week, I expect to get a lot of rain here. I think 5 out of the 7 days of the week are supposed to have rain. So obviously I'm not going to do any watering this week. I'm going to monitor it. It's supposed to have one day that's going to be back around 37, maybe a little lower. I'm not going to do anything on that either. I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed and keep praying up like I did last week that things continue to maintain. It should take hopefully 2 more weeks for those Mirlitons to get full maturity. So that's my hope. Obviously, it's not really much of a crop to eat. As I always talk about, I try to put those together for insurance purposes. So if I can maintain 3 plants, have some insurance, that I'll be able to keep the Boudreaux Robert variety going. So anyway, that's the plan. Had a lot of great response for Thanksgiving. A lot of people sharing their meals that they made for Thanksgiving. Seen a big increase in the amount of people subscribing and wanting to join the Mirliton.org Facebook page. We went from like 13 point something thousand to like 14.1 last I checked. So usually the holiday seasons bring out folks' interest in Mirliton. Hopefully you sat around the table, had some great Mirliton meals and great Mirliton memories. If you're interested in growing the heirloom varieties along the Gulf Coast, check out Mirliton.org, Mirliton.org, both on Facebook and on the internet. And also I want to thank Jordan LaHaye Fontenot for her article in Country Roads magazines found in South Louisiana on the article Mirliton Nation. A lot of in-depth information detailing all the work that Dr. Hill initiated back in 2005 after Katrina, and kind of up to date in the digital footprint that we've created today with his Mirliton.org website, and that we've continued on and grown with Mirliton.org on Facebook. So it's really interesting. She did a really great job, and we appreciate her giving us the exposure. And hopefully you'll check out the magazine. There's a lot of great features in that this month, as always. Once again, Country Roads Magazine, December 2025 issue. Anyway, if this information has been helpful to you, please share it with all your Mirliton-loving friends. And be sure to like the David J. Hubbell YouTube channel. Give it a thumbs up if it was interesting. If not, you can just go on by. Make sure you click that bell and subscribe to all upcoming episodes. Also, doing a new series on So You Think You Know Gumbo, just a little bit of history of gumbo throughout the Gulf Coast. Not just Louisiana, but at one time Louisiana was all the way from Louisiana as it is now to where I'm at now, Mobile. So if you're interested in learning a little bit about gumbo history and culture, check that out as well. Appreciate it, and keeping our fingers crossed, and hopefully I'll continue to have more positive results, and I'll see you next week.